welcome to the Trading Bell. This is an interesting conversation because it is one of the key strategies that the NEC as well is focusing on. I'm talking matters agriculture. And in the house, we have two amazing gentlemen. I'm talking about Africa Eats co-founder and director, that's Jimane Tafawa. And also joining him is Irungu Wagema, a renowned name right here, business development sector leader in agriculture right here at the NEC. We want to have a chat about some good news that is about to happen here at the market. And let's get straight into it. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. And Wagema, I'd like to start with you. I would like you to paint a picture to the viewers because the NEC just launched their new strategy and really looking forward to it and its implementation. It's a 5-year strategy.
Yeah.
And there is quite a keen focus on agriculture, and you're now heading this particular big portfolio on it. And I wanted to understand the scope behind it, what has informed it, and what are the plans?
All right.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Ivan, for having us in the show.
Yeah.
And we are really delighted. As the NSC, like you said, we are having our NSC 2025-2029 strategy that we've deployed this year. And we are actually we are focusing on a new purpose for NSC. So it's about inspiring Africa's transformation. So inspiring Africa's transformation in the sense of how can we not just be transactional, come lease, come make money, but how can we be part of the socio-economic development of Africa? And we feel as the NSC, we have a critical role and we are able to do that. So we are looking at that by also being the value creation partner of choice. So our new vision is really to be the preferred value creation partner. And then we're also going to be doing that through our mission, which is to unleash Africa's potential through innovative capital market solutions that is going to be powered by people, technology, and partnerships. So that is really, in a nutshell, the thrust. And we are looking at 3 major objectives, even from a strategy point of view, where we want to revitalize our markets. So the markets have been seeing some rebound and all that, but we have to be deliberate about it. The next one is to leverage on technology, which becomes an enabler. So it's not a good to have, it's a digital first strategy. And then finally, also to reorganize for it. So it is under reorganizing that now we looked at it when we were coming up with the strategy and we said, where do we focus that will make a big impact to this country? And one of those areas that we chose to differentially focus on is agri. Why agri? Because the statistics speak for themselves. 27% of our GDP, agri. 45% of government earnings, agri. 60% of earnings, even to in terms of from export, is again agri. And then when you look at even in terms of value addition, 27% of GDP is from agri. So there are different sources from FAO to even our National Bureau of Statistics that actually point to this. When you look at also in terms of employment, 80% of rural population is actually employed by agri. And when you look at the whole of Kenya, 40% is agri. So you can see there's actually a compelling case why agri. 1 trillion is our imports in agri. 2.6 is our imports. So when you talk about food security, there's a gap there. And that's why we are saying we need to be a food secure country. So we need to really be able to push. But when you look at even financial institutions, 2 to 3% of the bank loan books generally from central bank is what is dedicated to agri. Yet you can see that when you come to the market, we are at 1%. So there was a compelling case if we can be able to unlock the potential that is in agriculture. And in so doing, we'd be able to feed our nation and also, of course, add more revenue to this country. We're also seeing how can we push agri from just being production to actually where we're able to process and even export. So there's a huge opportunity. And that's why we've rolled our sleeves, put on our gumboots, and we're in the farm.
Oh my goodness. Wagema, the new evangelist of agriculture. Thank you so much for that. And really trying to summarize that entire strategy. And the fact that we eat every single day really speaks for itself.
And a growing population as well that needs to be fed.
Yes. I love that. Let me come to you, Jimane, and I want you to introduce to Kenyans and the viewers who are watching here, Africa Eats, in terms of who you are, your commission, before we get into the other matters of why you're in the market today. Go ahead.
Great. No, thank you for this. You know, it's interesting just building off of what Irungu shared. So Africa Eats, as the name implies, Africa, we are continent focused and eats. So we're focused on the food and agricultural value chain. But the underlying premise, it really builds off of what you just shared. The continent, the amount that is imported keeps, in terms of food, keeps on increasing, and not at the same rate at which exports are increasing within the agricultural value chain. a significant amount of aid that comes into the country is also focused on food as well. So our key focus as Africa Eats is we know we have the resources and the capacity and the capability to be able to feed the continent. And that's the underlying goal.
Absolutely.
How do we ensure that we provide the infrastructure needed to support the SMEs, so the small and medium-sized enterprises across the agricultural value chain? So that's the aggregators, those are the processors, those are the distributors, so that they can be able to reduce the average post-harvest loss. So in terms of, from farm to the fork, so to your plate, we see about 30 to 40% of food that's wasted at some point in that process. And so our goal is how do we reduce that 30 to 40% post-harvest loss, that's a technical term they'd like to describe it, to single digits. We've been able to achieve that in our portfolio, and we want to be able to now make that consistent across different agricultural companies across the continent.
Before you explain why you're here in the market, I'd like to still get to understand a little bit more about Africa Eats in terms of your footprint first, and how long have you been in operation for you to achieve even that so far?
Great. So Africa Eats was incorporated in 2020 in Mauritius, but its genesis actually starts before that. My co-founder and I, Looney Libs, he had started a startup accelerator back in 2013, just globally focused, but there was a high concentration of food businesses within Africa. And so really it's from 2014 onwards, identifying that there's a great opportunity to grow and support food and ag-related businesses that the genesis really started. From that, we then took the food and ag companies in 2020, put them into Africa Eats in the middle of COVID. So in COVID, we realized these companies were now no longer startups. They were now growing and scaling, but in the middle of COVID, capital was an issue. And so that's when we came on board and said, let's formally create Africa Eats. We launched in Mauritius. We now have 23 food and ag companies across 9 different sub-Saharan African markets. And then they're exporting to another 9 markets or so within the continent. But the goal, as I said, is we want to be able to provide the infrastructure needed to support any business that has aspirations of reducing or food insecurity. Although the technical term I saw someone told me to say is food insecurity is not a positive spin. This positive spin would be food sovereignty. So we want to create food sovereignty within sub-Saharan Africa.
I love that person. That's the best word to use. So I think I'll break the news for now, and then I'll ask you gentlemen to help us explain this. I know that Africa Eats plans to have an equity ETF, right?
Yes.
Excellent. So, Jman, why ETF?
So it's a good question. It's just stepping back and looking at markets globally. There are about 2,500, rough 3,000 stocks listed on the NASDAQ and the NYSE. I may be off a bit, but it's around there. But there are more ETFs listed than actual stocks listed. So it raises the question, well, how do you have more ETFs than stocks? But as Irungu just pointed out, it's a basket, right? So if you have 2,000, you can create more baskets than the actual number of stocks. Now, when you come to the NSE, as you said, there's one ETF. We looked across the continent, there are very few ETFs. The one market we saw that had ETFs was the JSE. And so we then raised the question of, well, why, what's preventing that from happening? And there's 2 key things that we saw that needed to be solved, which was, one was just informing and getting the market more to understand ETFs and the possibilities they hold. And the second was to be able to provide an instrument, which we call market making, that provides the liquidity that's required to have more ETFs. So if anybody wants to be able to purchase that share or sell it, it can happen within seconds. So when you go to some other markets like the NASDAQ and the NYSE, a trade happens in seconds. Now the question is there a buyer on the other side who's actually matching that exact order at that exact time? No. The reason that happens is because you have market making. And so that's something which we are bringing with an ETF, that there will be a market maker who will buy and sell those shares and create the liquidity. And we think this would be a game changer for within the NSE and getting more participation.
Lovely. Gentlemen, I want to bring this to the table because anytime we mention agriculture, there will always be the pessimists and the optimists. The pessimists will say this is one of the most risky commodities to invest in because of the normal things that we know. And they have their say. They will talk about climate change, all those kind of things and all that. And I wanted to ask about the risk vis-a-vis return profile. From your own opinion, how do you see this? And how can we ensure that investors are not shy of it and that they can expect some returns here and there? I think I want to start with you again.
All right. Okay. So thank you very much. Yeah. So like, I don't know if you've ever had, I was in a conference.
Yes.
Someone said I was educated because of coffee. I was educated because of
there's
tea.
a lot of that. Yes.
Yeah. So why do we shy away as an economy from agri? And I remember, like myself, I dropped agri when I was informed.
Oh, no.
Nobody wants to be associated with a djembe. So when I was told to take this portfolio, I was like, okay, I remember where I dropped agri. But now when but I think sometimes, I don't know if it is a Kenyan way, you want to be in tech, you want to be in all those nice other, but I think at the end of the day, people must eat. And the way to eat is actually through agriculture. Even the developed, actually it's interesting, we had a conference in Netherlands. Netherlands is number 2 exporter of agri, following closely after the US. So even the US and all these people, California, they're actually known for agri. So, and why Kenyans maybe shy away from agri is maybe the perceived risks. Perceived, but also actual. I have a relative, she told me she wanted to do some onions in Isiolo. We gave her some cash. Today we are still following up on that. Some people really lose money. And so it is seen as very high risk. And one of the things that then we have done is actually to study the area. We've actually, when we embarked on this portfolio of agri, we looked at what are the risks. And some of them, Jumane has mentioned, from the post-harvest losses, many people lose that. Again, the dependence on the climate. Right now we are talking about climate change and all that. That's real. Because we had a drought. And maybe interesting statistics is that was being told from a World Bank report, 20 to 30 billion USD was lost through livestock that died because of the drought. So this is a reality. It's not myth. So you'll just see even many animals that died, people lost a lot of wealth. So you can see that. And then on the other side, when you look at maybe investing in it as an asset class, people shy away from it. Yet, if there's an asset class that has double-digit returns, it's agri. Because that's where you're able to, people must eat. And even if you just think about it, a potato, how much you buy, maybe you get it from the farm. By the time it's reaching the fork, maybe at McFry's, you're buying that plate for 200 shillings. So you see that. What about that profit? Can you be part of that? So the thing is this, the reason why people shy away from investing in agri is because of the risks associated. If you look at it at a very basic level, many people who are in agri, they're in agri by default. The other day there was controversy. You want to get a university, a degree to be in agri. People were wondering, hey, you want to tell my mother to go back to school? So it is really a very informal sector. But what we are doing and what we've seen and we can learn, say, from Netherlands, them, they take it very seriously. They actually go, they have proper institutions. They are researching continuously in agri. So, and I think that formalization is what we need, even to the companies, to maybe the farms. Most farms are really handed over from one generation to another. So it's ancestral land. And what we like as Kenyans is subdividing. So why can we not now start formalizing it? Can we aggregate land? Can we have something meaningful? When you check at like maybe Australia, they have ranches. In the US, why is it a top exporter? They have big ranches and also big farms. So I think we can be able to do something, but all is not lost, even for the small holder, because we have a Ibuka program where we can also be able to support and also handhold even the small holders and small agribusinesses. So I think I've just mentioned a few here and there.
You're mentioning enough.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Wagema. All right.